So welcome to the channel, it's your boy EO here. So surprisingly, it's a sunny day in London today. So today we're going to talk about how I was taken by two women in Nairobi. So in the airport, we was queuing and we were seeing people push past each other. So it was quite chaotic. So 5 hours later, we was still waiting in the line, waiting for our passports to get stamped. So we was like, oh my days, how long are we gonna be in the airport for? Because at that moment, we was waiting in the queue for so long. We haven't had anything to eat. We've only had about 2 hours of sleep. So at this point, we were just frustrated and angry. I'm someone who goes to the gym. I need to eat a lot of food to maintain my size, I can't go more than 2 hours without eating. Like, if I don't eat within 2 hours or 3 hours, I'm grumpy, I'm moody, I'm just not myself. So at this point, I'm just like, I was just standing there like, I was just frustrated. So yeah, after 5 hours, we got our passport stamped. So we was talking to the immigration officer. I don't know if that's what you guys call them. The guy was asking us questions, where we coming from, what are we doing in Kenya. So we just told them that, we're just here for a couple of days, just checking out Nairobi, seeing what it's all about. But then we said, okay, yeah, we're coming from UK, but we're Nigerian, we're British citizens, but we're actually Nigerian. So yeah, that's what we told him. And he was like, oh, Nigerians. So at that moment, we was having a laugh, joking around. And at that point, I thought, yeah, we finally made a friend in Nairobi. But then 5 minutes later, this guy's asking for money. He's asking, oh, because you're my friend, you have to give me money. So we was like, typical Africa. This is what you're going to experience in Africa. Anywhere you go in Africa, you're going to experience people trying to, just use you for money, basically. Just try and get anything they can out of you. As soon as we went past immigration, I don't know, like as soon as we got our passport stamped, we went to collect our luggage. We were like, what's going on here? We're seeing suitcases flying everywhere. People bashing their suitcases on the floor. It was absolutely chaotic. Like, if you guys have not been to the airport in Nairobi, then you guys will not know what I'm talking about. And the security guards were just watching us like, oh yeah, they were just standing there like, they were pretty relaxed. They were pretty, calm. They weren't really helping. They were just standing there. And everybody was just running around trying to find their suitcase, their luggage. At this point, we were surprised that our suitcase wasn't even stolen, because that can happen as well. This is something that we're not used to, because back in the UK, the airports in the UK are much more organized. You have places where you can scan your passport. Everybody queues up in a line. Whereas in Nairobi, everybody is everywhere, there's not really any organization. So as soon as we got out of the airport, we were seeing so many guys, so many women trying to get us, trying to persuade us to get into their taxis. So at this point, we was like, oh my days, what do we do? And there's so many people trying to say, hey, trying to persuade us to get into their taxi. Of course, it's going to be everywhere you go, you're going to experience that everywhere you go. But in Africa, it's a different type of, story, because it's crazy. That's what you have to know. So yeah, we was like, okay, cool. Let's go with these two lovely women. I don't know where they were taking us, but they were taking us through a parking lot. At this point, we was like, okay, cool. Everything is fine. We're going to our accommodation. So yeah, as soon as we got into the taxi, she was asking us where we're from, and we said the UK. As soon as we said the UK, her eyes lit up. She was like, "Oh, money, 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 money." All of a sudden, her eyes were glowing up. And she was asking us, what do we do for work? Where do you live? So she was asking us all these types of questions. So we asked her, how long will it take to get to the accommodation? and she said it would take about 30 minutes. Okay, cool. So 30 minutes has gone by and it's been about an hour. So at this point, we're worried, we're scared. We're like, oh, where are these women taking us? Are they trying to kidnap us? Even my dad, he was scared. You know how these Nigerians are, they're always trying to find a negative. And they were asking him, oh, why are you so tense? You need to loosen up. You look a bit scared. Because before we came to Africa, specifically Nairobi, Kenya, we had this perception that, oh yeah, Africa is a dangerous place because of the way the Western media portrays Kenya, portrays Africa. So yeah, that's what we had in our minds. They were saying that Kenyan people are friendly. They're not gonna harm you. They're not gonna hurt you. They started asking me, oh, do I have a girlfriend? That, oh, how come I don't have a girlfriend? I look very muscly. I look very attractive. They thought that me and my dad were brothers because we look alike and because my dad, he goes to the gym as well and I go to the gym. It got weirder every single second. So it gets worse. So at that point, we was like, hold on, we don't have money to pay for the taxi. So we had to now stop, spend an extra 30 minutes with them. We converted our money from pounds to Kenyan shillings. So yeah, as soon as we done that, we went to the accommodation. After that experience, what we ended up realizing was that number one, not every culture is the same, because we were coming from the UK where people were rude, miserable. Back in the UK, I won't get that much compliments on my physique or the fact that I go to the gym. People are very reserved in the UK. They're afraid of what people think of them. UK, America, as a society, as a country, I feel like people are just afraid of what people think. They're very shy. They don't want to open up and express themselves. So that's the way we thought Kenya was going to be like. It was actually the complete opposite. So we was like, okay, cool. Maybe they're just trying to be friendly in Kenya. Maybe it's just a part of who they are. They care about you as a person, not just the fact that you have money. There are people out there that care for you as a person. Yeah, I feel like we had to get used to that. And it's something that we had a hard time adjusting to. Another thing that we learnt is that you can't just enter a taxi with the first person that you see. You have to try and go to different people and try to haggle the price down. If someone is offering you $70 for a one-way taxi ride, try and negotiate the price down to maybe $30. You always have to try and stand up for yourself, especially in Africa, because Africa will test you. It will test for what you stand for. And I feel like in Africa, just being in Africa for a week will actually mature you. It will make you have to stand up for yourself, because if you don't stand up for yourself, you're always going to be in this constant cycle of getting ripped off, being taken advantage of. So you have to be really careful when it comes to, that kind of situation. So if you have any questions or if you've experienced what I've experienced, make sure to leave a comment down below. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Peace.